Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wherefore are thou patrons? Thanks to Alan, Billy, Blizz, Brett, Caleb, Chen, Christoph, David, Edia, Eric, Gary, Joey, the other Joey, Christopher, Matthew, Miguel, Mathaldu, Raymond, Rodrigo, Sackchief, and Z for their support. If you want to support me, my Patreon and PlayAsia affiliate links are in the description. Enjoy the video. That was weird. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and oh, for God's sake, it's gone to a demo? Oh, no, it's just the intro cutscene. This is Dragonfly Chronicles. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I've been playing this for a little over an hour at this point, and I'm only on to stage 2 of 8, and there's just so much that's wrong with it. There is legitimately so much that was wrong with it. I try and tell myself to at least get a decent amount of the way into the game before I go and do a video on it, but I've just given up at this point. I cannot give any semblance of a damn about this one at all. I'm actually kind of impressed. Let's go find out why. So if we go have a look in the options menu, there's not that much to see. Although, strangely enough, the sound and the sound effects meters, it really should be music and sound effects, are different lengths for some reason. You have an extras menu, which has a bunch of things that start out locked, and you unlock them by playing through the game, so I don't actually get to see very many of these. My chair is creaking under me like an old woman. Okay, so I get Mark West, who kind of looks like a DC superhero. I can't quite put my name on that, but whatever. And you got a level select and trophies, but we don't care. Let's just go and hit continue and just get straight in. I was just going to put me on episode 2 anyway. Fantastic! So I don't even get to be like halfway through the level like I was before. Fine, whatever. You get cutscenes that try and tell you the story, but it's obviously not written by someone who has English as their first language, because there is just way too many weird examples of English, a couple of typos here and there. Kami. How do you pronounce that? Like, I know Kami. Like, Kami with 2 M's. But how do you pronounce it with 1 M that doesn't sound ridiculous? Maybe it's Kani and the font's just terrible. Yep. Double question mark on one, and then 1 question mark for the other question in the same sentence. Or on the same screen, I should say. It's just... yeah. I don't know. It's weird English and it just turns you off immediately. I swear these non-English developers really need to just give someone $50, get them to go over the script and take out all this weird shit, because it just doesn't... They're all so obvious to anyone who natively speaks English. They're just immediately obvious. They stick out like a sore thumb that someone's tried to cut off. But nevertheless, that's not the biggest problem with this game by a long shot. I'm just bringing it up because why not? The second biggest problem with this game is loading times. This sort of game, like, it doesn't look absolutely horrible, but just the overall look of it does not justify that much of a loading time. Hang on a minute. I knew I wasn't hearing things. Okay, that's bizarre. Alright, so... let's talk about Dragonfly Chronicles. The closest comparison I have for you is Ninja Gaiden. But trust me, just don't expect... I'm talking about old NES-style Ninja Gaiden. And don't expect a game on the quality level of NES Ninja Gaiden. Just, why did he grow two times in size before he exploded. What the hell? Okay, never mind. But yes, this game plays a lot like Ninja Gaiden. It's got the whole grabbing onto things, doing wall jumps off walls, and it's also got a few special abilities to play around with. But here's the immediate problem. Your movement and attack suck. So, movement in general isn't the fault of the movement mechanics themselves. Wow. Okay, thankfully the game's not that much of a pain in the ass with checkpoints, although the first level was an absolute douche with the checkpoints. It took until I got like 2/3 of the way through it before it really gave me a decent checkpoint, but whatever. It wasn't that bad, but trust me, it was bad. So, yeah. The problem with the game's moving and jumping mechanics is not with the mechanics themselves. When the game is basically being able to run at normal speed, those are fine. The problem with this game is that it doesn't run at full speed all the time, or even remotely close to it. Pretty much any even remotely complex background art like this induces some form of lag into this game. Some. It's not particularly obvious when you're looking at it, but you can definitely feel it underneath your fingers. And if you're paying really close attention to the video, you can tell when it starts dropping frames. It makes platforming in this game an utter chore because it can miss your inputs or it can just delay them. And it is incredibly frustrating to deal with, especially in certain situations where you don't want to fight a bunch of dudes. For the most part in this game, you're better off just jumping over them for reasons I'll get into shortly. But in this game, when the background is lagging, or just the entire game I should say, when it's lagging because the background is too complex, trying to jump over a dude that's moving towards you at the same time is utter torture without getting hit. Because if you get hit, you get knocked back, and, well, 50-50 chance you have to do it all again. I think I've only played one part of this game where the lag hasn't actually been in there. And it was a part of the game where the only background was like this sky background, where it was, what's the word I'm looking for? It was basically just a couple of clouds and that was it. So, yeah. Pretty much any time there's a background in this game, it lags. It's really bad. By pretty much any standard I can think of, it's just kind of garbage. You do also have an attack. The attack button is on the square button. It is a little wimpy punch. The punch is wimpy pretty much no matter how you do it, but the thing about the punch is, when you punch, your range is ridiculously short. And by ridiculously short, I mean, it's about half the length of my arm. It's I don't even want to say kind of bad. It's really bad. If most enemies died in this game in one hit, it wouldn't actually be that big a deal. However, most enemies in this game do not die in one hit. As a matter of fact, they take multiple hits. Now, the game does actually kind of help you out with this one. Most enemies, when they move, will be stun-locked when you hit them. So, you'll punch them, they'll stop moving for about 1/4 of a second, and then they'll start moving again. Anything that needs more than... Alright, let me try that again. Anything that has 2 hit points or less will probably die when you punch them. Because when you punch them, you do 1 bit of damage, and then the stun lock will probably last long enough so that you can do another hit and therefore take them out. However, the delay between your punches is longer than the amount of time the enemy will be stun locked for. So you'll punch them, you'll be hammering away at the punch button to get out the next punch as fast as possible, and you won't make it. The enemy will get to move just a smidgen closer. Only a smidgen. Not much. Only just a little bit of a smidgen closer. Again, if you only need to hit them twice, not a problem. If you need to hit them more than twice, they will get close enough to you and you will get hit by them. This is practically a guarantee. You can get this pickup here, which will let you attack at a longer range. But the problem is, if you die, you lose it. And since the game is so... I'm not going to call it aggressive checkpointing, because in this game you really come to appreciate the heavy checkpointing. But at the same time, if you end up... if you end up dying, that's it, you lose. And you'll go back to either the checkpoint or it'll force you to continue, which will just put you at the same checkpoint anyway, just with a really long loading time, because fuck that. For some reason, the checkpointing is that aggressive, so you end up in a position where you need to, come on brain, work with me here. You end up in a position where you're past it already, so you can't go back and pick it up. So you end up thinking that you might want to end up restarting the entire stage. It's bizarre. Oh, I remember this bit. Fuck you, instant kill laser beam. Yes, really. Like, look at that. Look at that. Now, for those of you who are watching the video, I knew that was coming. Did you? So imagine the first time you go down that hole, you are almost guaranteed to end up getting yourself killed at least once. Because there is no way you can see that coming, let alone 4 times. See? So it doesn't look like you can grip onto the walls anyway, but just this game's graphical style is weird, but we'll go over that. So, yeah. You don't punch fast enough to reliably stun lock enemies long enough to kill them without taking a hit, and that hit can and will throw you back. There are also some really annoying enemies that will just fly in, knock you back, and you have barely any time to hit them, because again, you've got next to no range. There are pickups that you can get, and we did see some earlier, that let you hit further and also do this weird little dash that damages enemies. Another fuck you moment right there. If you didn't take the time to grab onto that wall and climb down, that would have screwed you too, although thankfully those green zappy bars don't kill you instantly like the yellow beams do. But yeah, as I was saying, you do get power-ups that can make you a little bit more powerful, but they're not very common, and you can get checkpointed past them before you even really effectively get to use them, because of fuck you instant kill traps that show up, because it's actually a surprisingly zoomed in camera. There are all sorts of just weird little design decisions made with the enemies and the level design that are going on throughout this game, and it's hard to go over them all, but let me put it this way, in as friendly a way I can as possible. The game feels very unpolished in the level design sense. It feels like there are a lot of things that are just player hostile going on in here that I just can't stand. So you do have a secondary method of attack, and I just demonstrated it. See what I mean by your punch's range? It's ridiculously short by default. And as I said, that stun lock really does not last long. Like, that cockroach thing there, I don't know exactly what it is or what to call it, but since it only takes 2 hits, you can pretty reliably kill them if you just wait for them to come to you and then punch them. Pretty reliably. I say pretty, but it's entirely possible that you might not be great at this. These guys, though, yeah, they take 4 hits. So watch, if I punch him as fast as I possibly can, he recovers from the stun lock too fast. However, let's wait until I can, let's wait until I get to the next set of platforms, because there is another one I can demonstrate up here. This guy right here. So if I jump, and I punch as fast as I possibly can, see how he turned around as he got to me? That was actually some really good fucking luck, because I would not have lived through that if that damn thing had not stopped and turned around, because, again, the stun lock was just too short. It was just, it wasn't enough time. I don't know what the rhythm you're supposed to get with these bloody things are, but yeah, I'm dead. So the only way I've been able to find to get through this segment here is you have to save all your special weapon energy, bring it all down to the bottom with you, then use the long-range waves to take everything out from a distance, because there is just too much shit to deal with. I don't even know how you're supposed to deal with those eyes without having special weapon energy, because they are too quick firing for you to effectively hit them, get in, hit them, and then get out in between shots, because you're just not going to be able to make up the distance in time. But yeah, let's talk about special weapon energy. So you start off with a certain amount of special weapon energy up in the top right there. And you can use that special weapon energy on any 3 of the special attacks you've got up there. One is a one-hit damage wave that pierces through enemies and goes across the majority of the screen. Not all of it, but most of it. The second is a super-powered punch. I don't know how much damage it does because there is no point using the super-powered punch when you can just regularly punch people. And then the third is this weird energy orb. And the weird energy orb is... I don't really even know what to... I don't even know what to call it, but basically what the weird energy orb does is it stands in position and then just emits energy like that as extra hits. So it does actually do a lot of damage. But of course that means that you have to use a lot of weapon energy to actually activate that one, because it's a dick ability. So the majority of people will probably end up using the wave, because the wave seems to be the most useful thing right now. A fucking knockback, I swear to Christ. The other problem with special weapon energy is that you don't actually get that much of it. Sure, there are some pickups that can give you enough for like 1 extra orb shot, or maybe 2 or 3. Fuck me. It might give you enough for like 1 extra orb shot or 2 or 3 waves. But even then, it's really stingy. Enemies barely drop them. In fact, you know what the funny thing is? I've found that the enemy that's most likely to drop... God, this is boring. I found that the enemy that's most likely to drop any kind of pickup whatsoever are the kinds of enemies that are likely to be floating over bottomless pits. So the pickup will just drop right in and you won't actually be able to... Fuck me! Now I have to do all that shit again, because seriously, this game is a dick. I swear on baby Jesus that I pressed the X button, but it just did not register the input. Because the game's a laggy piece of shit half the time. So yeah, the game is a dick. The game is a dick in so many different ways that it's just infinitely frustrating. The only legitimate fun I've had with this game is the only slightly above average soundtrack, which goes below average in this game, mainly because it doesn't seem to fit with the graphical style, theme, or just general atmosphere of the game at all. It's just kind of disconnected in that sense. And the fact that I managed to make the game lag to shit by attacking a boss with the orbs. I saved all my weapon energy for the boss because the boss is being an absolute dick. By the way, the first boss in this game is a fantastic way of how not to do boss design, by making you repeat the same get hit once and you're pretty much fucked sort of pattern. It's really, really frustrating to deal with that shit. Oh, come on, really? But yeah, I saved all my weapon energy for the boss, then I fired like 4 orbs at it at the same time. And the game went, like, it wasn't even in single digits. It was like 3 frames a second at most. It was amazingly laggy. I managed to strip the game out hard, and it was... See what I mean? That's just dick. That is just dick. Right there, that is. So this is the furthest I've ever been in the game. Oh yeah, by the way, I said I was going to talk about how weird the game's bloody graphics are. It seems to be this, it's just so bizarre because it makes it really hard to tell what's the floor and what's not. Like, I wouldn't have even been able to guess that you could drop through here. Like, there was a big glowy pipe there, sure, but when they disappeared, that big pipe there in the foreground was enough to distract me quite heavily. By the way, that is an example of a dick camera. Another instant kill laser. After all of that bullshit, another instant kill laser. That was the laser that eventually made me decide, fuck this shit, I'm not playing this anymore. Because that is just absolute gobsmackingly bad level design. You could not see that coming. There would be no way to realistically see that coming. And what's up with this? What's up with the switch of perspective all of a sudden? We were going from like flat side on to this weird isometric but on one scale 2D. It's bizarre. Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Oh, no. What was that about? I'm guessing it had something to do with the lights in the back, but that's not a great thing to just drop on people there and then. What's the bet? I'm way back at the beginning of that section that I had to do like 3 times. Trust me, I had to do it a lot more than 3 times off camera. When the game decides it wants to load a stage that was literally right there on. Okay, no, it actually put me here. Fair enough. Okay, ducking doesn't work. And I can't jump high enough to get out of the... Oh, right, you can stand on top of these things. Kind of hard to tell, game. Oh, right, it's 2 sets of 4. The game has a lot of problems like that, like things blocking environmental objects, things not looking like you can jump on top of them, but you actually can. Just all sorts of weird little idiosyncrasies in the way the game designs its graphics. It's bizarre. Also, the first stage was really long. Might have been because I was replaying it so much, but my god, it took a long time for me to get through the first stage. It was a massive pain. See, I'm always up for a hard but fair platformer, but this game really isn't. It's got a bunch of BS and just unsatisfying mechanics. It's laggy to move, your attack reach is so low that it's unsatisfying and unpredictable. The game's graphical presentation causes a lot of gameplay problems, and it also causes a lot of technical problems that make it really unsatisfying to play. Oh. Right, I can climb up this wall. Weird. It just has a lot of weird little gameplay issues and just stuff like that, which makes it really frustrating and not enjoyable to play. And also, for some reason, it's like 1.5 gig. I don't know how they wasted 1.5 gig on a game that looks like this. I could accept like a few hundred meg, but 1,500 for this does not seem right. Yeah, so if I just stand here... Just stop right there. Game lagged like hell there for a minute. Super Punch doesn't even have that much reach. Again, no real point in using it. You might as well just spam them with the waves, because the waves do... The waves are piercing, they're long range, and they do more damage. Alright, what's the deal here? Oh great, another room with these bozos. Oh yeah, you know what, screw it. We'll do this the easy way, if I can actually put the right thing. Yep, there he is growing. His heart grew twice in size that day, along with the rest of it. Yeah, there wasn't much chance of me getting out of that one, but... Let's see, how far back have they put me? All the way, fuck this. That was a look at Dragonfly Chronicles. It's a piece of crap. It tries to be a hard but fair platformer, but it feels like nobody even bothered to playtest it properly, because there's just so much weird little things, and even a couple of big things that just get in the way of it being even remotely enjoyable. Go play Curse of the Moon. That game is way better at being a hard but fair platformer, and it costs the same as well, so you'll be getting a lot more out of your money. This game just feels like a half-tested mess. It's not worth it. It really isn't. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.